I think you'll get a kick out of this. Let's get into it. All right, hey everyone, welcome to Clyde Plays News. My name is Clyde, and today we are going to talk about a bunch of great new stuff that has happened in the world of Warships. First up, of course, our top story is some new ships that are coming into the game. Some of these you've seen, some of them maybe you haven't, but first, let's bop over here to our second story. Sloth, thank you for the follow and welcome to Clyde Plays News. This is like one of the most beautiful camouflages I've ever seen. Oh, I want it so bad. And I will never get it. This is a beautiful camouflage that is for the upcoming King of the Sea 15 tournament that is going into closed test. Look at this beautiful camouflage. She is fantastic. And we've also got, of course, a King of the Sea flag. This flag's actually really legit looking. I love this Viking with the crossed axes and the crown. This is pretty cool. And it does look like we've got a captain here, Bjorn Konugre. I don't have any idea how to pronounce that, but we'll say it kind of silly and see if people say anything. Fantastic stuff. Let's go on to our next story. This one is about our upcoming April Fool's game mode. Now, Wargaming has done an April Fool's game mode I don't know if they do one every year, but frequently. And one of the most popular, most memorable, most exciting of these crazy, wacky modes was, of course, the Bathtub mode. Now, this time they're calling it Hot Tub mode. And it looks every bit as cartoony and silly as it did in the past. These guys have really gone all out, and it does look fantastic. We've got little duckies now, I think, which is pretty crazy. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in here. Trouble in the hot tub, it says. April Fool's Day bathtub battles are back. The hot tub map of old has been updated, including some new animated props. But it looks like we will play as these ducks. What I was saying here is it says there's a new armament type, mines, and we did listen to the recent Waterline video, and in the Waterline video they talked about support carriers being able to lay minefields, and I think this might give us kind of a sneak preview of what a mine mechanic could look like in World of Warships if brought to the game proper. So even though this is going to be a silly mode with rubber ducky boats in a bathtub, keep in mind that these mines could be an indicator of things to come. And of course, it could be a very silly version, obviously. Rolling on down, these look to be the fantastic looking, beautiful artwork for the Pan American cruisers. I really dig this kind of stuff. This kind of art I think is really cool. This is the Ignacio Allende, the Tier 8, the Santander for Tier 9, and the San Martin for Tier 10. They've got kind of a blue, red, and green theme. I think these look rad, and I can't wait to have those in my port. We've got a cool flag for that event as well, and then a decorated Rio de Janeiro. Taking a look at ranked battles in update 12.2, the 11th season of ranked battles will begin, and it will be possible to take part with all ship types. Battles will take place in the following formats: 6v6 tiers 8 through 9 and 6v6 tier 10. Now, this says all ship types, so we're expecting aircraft carriers and submarines, as I think what that is to be taken to mean. We've got the maps here for the 20th season of clan battles, because with the release of 12.2, the map Shatter has been removed from the list of clan battle maps, and Hotspot will take its place. I like Hotspot more than Shatter personally, so that is not a bad change for me. Although I think that there are a lot of players who are probably tired of Hotspot and they were hoping for a variety or a chance to step away from that. Did anybody watch the official stream? I missed it today and I wanted to hear them talk about these because these are wacky. So added the ships Star Kitakaze and Star Edinburgh with characteristics similar. It says similar. I don't know if these are going to be Xeroxes, if they're just going to be copies, or if they're going to be different. But similar to Kitakaze and Edinburgh, respectively, as well as Commanders, Andromeda, and Triangulum with unique voiceovers. I dig the idea of these Commanders with unique voiceovers. They're a little spacey and wacky. These camos are very spacey and wacky. But my question is this like Is this like a cartoon, a manga, an anime, a sci-fi series? What is this? And why did they do it? If anybody knows, let me know in chat right now. If nobody knows on chat, that's fine too. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, let me know in the comments down below, because I don't know about this. I may have Googled it by the time you answer my question if it's on YouTube, but that is all I know at this point. Bowmaster says they said they were the same ships, but with different camos and captains. Askan says they just made it up. Okay. It looks like something that they just made up. A couple of new patch types as well. These are actually kind of neat if you're a comic book fan, so I think that's kind of cool. And then this one down here, just a single note here about this, I think is worth talking about. You guys may remember the commander Ashley Violert. She was like a Twitch promo commander. So she's a female commander. She's got like a purple shirt on. She is getting a unique voiceover. There were a few months back, Boxy talked about this on the North American stream earlier in the week. They put out a spreadsheet and requested voice lines from us CCs. I submitted a few. I don't know if they got selected. We will find out. She's supposed to be like a streamer who's a captain, so she might say things that are streamer flavored. So I'm really excited to see how that comes out and have a custom voice on my Ashley Violert commander. I believe they also mentioned that they're going to try to come up with some way to re-release that commander again. All right, let me go back. Let's hit up our top story for the day. We'll bring this browser over here. New ships in 12.2. And although you can see the European destroyer Malvanet, no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly, please forgive me. I'm sure it's wrong in some fashion. There are some premium ships in here as well. There's a European cruiser called I think the Elli. Again, who knows how that's pronounced exactly. I believe it's a Greek cruiser. We'll take a look at that a little later. The British cruiser Nottingham and the American submarine Gato. So we'll get into those too, but first let's talk a little bit about these European destroyers. So we're getting a second line of Euro destroyers added to the game. It says these ships have a solid stock of hit points. They're armed with fast reloading main battery guns and a good firing range. From tier 8, the guns have flat ballistics. Their torpedoes have high speed but low damage and range. When I read this, it says this has everything that the original Pan-Euro line has, which is torpedoes with high speed and low damage and range, but they've got really good guns, I guess, and more hit points, I guess. I don't know, maybe they don't have a hull repair. Well, we can take a look at some of the details of them down below. So here's Malvanet. In 1938, Turkey ordered 4 ships of the latest I-class from Great Britain, but 2 of them, including Malvanet, were purchased by Great Britain when the war broke out. European destroyer Stored is our tier 6, and there she is. I think the Stored looks really cool. I like this aggressive rake on the front. I think we talked about this ship before. I think it looks really neat. It says with the outbreak of World War II, Great Britain launched the mass construction of destroyers in batches of 8. As a rule, all of them had 4 single gun mounts of 102 to 120 millimeter guns, as well as 1 or 2 4-tube torpedo launchers. Interesting. Some were transferred to the Norwegian Navy and received the names Stored and Svener. We got the Grom here, which sounds like a small motorcycle if you're familiar with the Honda Grom. But this one is a ship. It's not a motorcycle. Grom and Bliskowica entered service in 1937 and became the strongest European destroyers of their time after the latest French ones. Okay, rolling on. European destroyer Split, which I know that's what we're talking about, but this is the European destroyer Split. Who's on first? By the 1930s, by order of the Yugoslav Navy, French specialists designed a large cruiser based on Le Fantasque. The boiler and turbine plant was purchased in the UK, and the fire control systems in France. Split, named after the city in which it was built, which I believe is on the coast of the sea across from Italy. I don't remember what sea that is. Adriatic. Geography and I, sometimes better friends than others. I've looked this city up. It is there. It is really there, and it is called Split. I'm sure it's pronounced differently than that. Lambros Katsonis. No idea if they roll that R, but I did. In the 1920s, this was a Greek ship. Look at these guns. There's 2 adjacent to each other on this upper deck, right in front of the superstructure there, right in front of the tower. And then there's a single turret up front. That to me is really interesting. It's an interesting layout. It kind of reminds me of an Omaha or even a little bit of the Hector. which has a bit of those, you know, 2 turrets up top that kind of swivel around. 2 turrets that taste great together. I don't think that's the right phrase. European destroyer Gdansk, tier 10 here. This is based on the idea of the superiority of Polish ships over enemy ships due to quality but not quantity. The leadership of the fleet developed a large destroyer capable of competing even with light cruisers. So there she is. And we do have ship stats right here. This is what we were talking about. I'm going to skip down. We're going to look at the 10. We'll look at the 10, 8, and 9, and then we'll look at the 7 and the 5 just to get kind of an idea. So the 10, 25,000 hit points almost. She's going to have a 12-kilometer firing range, which will be able to boost 20% twice if you want. So this is going to have a really long firing range. 139 millimeter guns, which is awesome. 2,000 and 2,700 damage. 10% fire chance. 840 meters per second velocity. So that's not Russian meters per second, which is about 950. But 840 is respectable. That'll have a reasonable arcs that you'll be able to use. 3.7 second reload time. Okay. 2.0 Sigma. What are they not giving these boats? Okay, fine. Whatever, guys. All right, let's take a look. AA defense. Okay, so she's gonna have damage control party, smoke generator, engine boost, and a very short duration 10-second radar. Look at that. 10 seconds, 9-kilometer ship detect, 4 charges. Reload time is only 60 seconds. This is an interesting twist on radar, and I think this is one that some of us, we theorized about this a little bit. So if you have a 10-second radar and a 3.7-second reload, you can probably get that reload down to like 3.4 maybe, which means you can get about 3 salvos after you hit the radar, maybe only 2. But if you're reloaded, you hit the radar, you hit the radar, that means you can fire right now, then you can fire again once, then you can fire again once, and then you'll miss the last one. That is really, really interesting. These are selfish radars that you use for yourself. And you can use it while smoked. Let's take a look and see what we have at the tier 9. We'll look at it briefly. Here's the 9. So 20,000 hit points, same guns it looks like, with a worse reload, 4.4 seconds. The radar is going to be the same. So 10 seconds, 9-kilometer, 60-second reload with with 4 charges. So again, the reload being the big difference here in terms of how you can convert those radars into destroyer kills. Because really that's what we're trying to do, is utilize that radar. And every time we turn on the radar, we want to kill a destroyer. And that gives us full value, or do significant damage, run them out of a cap, get some measurable benefit that isn't, I took 3,000 hit points from that guy. You want to kill him, you want to take the cap, you want to make them uncomfortable. So that is definitely something. And I wanted to roll up now. We'll look at the 7. 7 has engine boost, smoke, and damage control party, very similar to a standard destroyer. Grom here is going to have 15,500 hit points. 900 meter per second initial velocity on the guns, so these arcs are going to be a little bit flatter. I'd like to compare this at some point to Błyskawica and see how similar they are. I think those numbers remind me of what I remember of the Blizz, but to be fair, I haven't played that boat in a good long time, so it is very possible that I don't remember the details of Blizz, so we'd have to go check that out. Yeah, I agree, Snow. I think they're going to be situational. I think using these radars well is going to take a little practice and a little bit of skill. Interesting stuff there. Let's take a look at this European cruiser. This is a tier 6 pan-Euro cruiser. Now, when I first looked at this, I said, another tier 6 Commonwealth cruiser? What gives? And then I said, wait, this is a pan-Euro cruiser. This is a Italian cruiser. If you look at these turrets, it's obviously Italian. It says cruiser Eugenio di Savoia, I have no idea, is laid down at the Ansaldo shipyard in Genoa in July 1933 and commissioned in January 1936. Perth is Commonwealth now, not Pan-Euro. That's what I thought too. I was thinking about Perth, but it is Commonwealth. They needed to make those flags different colors. At the end of 1942, the cruiser was damaged by American aircraft. Yeah, no worries. But after the surrender of Italy, it was used as a training ship, and in 1950, it was transferred to Greece. Now, This has 852 millimeter guns, weak armor, and high speed. She looks to have some similarities to that Duca d'Aosta ship. Duca d'Aosta, I find a difficult ship to play. I'll be interested to see how Elli or Eli or what have you comes out and what its strengths and weaknesses are. About 30,000 hit points. She's gonna have damage control party, hydroacoustic search, defensive AA fire. Looks like a pretty basic little tier 6 cruiser. Hopefully she's fun. I guess we'll wait and see. We also have the tier 8 cruiser. This looks like a battleship. Don't be fooled. This is a cruiser, Nottingham, which is a British cruiser. She's got 203 millimeter guns arranged in 3 triple turrets. Let me double check that that's true. Yes, 203s. 9 of them. So this looks almost kind of like a French cruiser, like we see in the French cruiser super heavy split. Look at the triple stacks out back. I wish I could spin this ship around and look at all angles of her, but we can't. So we're going to go this way. After signing the Washington Naval Treaty, Great Britain, in need of cruisers, immediately began designing ships of this type. One of the enthusiasts for development of a new type of cruiser was Sir George Thurston. Sir George Thurston, chief designer of Vickers, who at one time developed such ships as the Congo and Erin. Back in 1923, he published in Brassey's Naval and Shipping Annual. Now that's a magazine I wish I had a subscription to. Is that the latest issue of Brassey's Naval and Shipping? A 15-page essay, The Influence of the Washington Conference on the Design of Warships, which described the general features of future cruisers. 35,300 hit points at tier 8 feels light. 15.7 kilometer firing range. 814 meter per second velocity. 4,500 damage max for the AP. 3,300 for the HEs. With a 17% fire chance. Sloth and Warlord the Noob, thanks for the follows, guys. When I see these boats that have all the turrets forward, if they're not battleships, I sometimes go, I don't know if that's for me. So I'm hesitant to say this looks like it'll be something that I have to have in my port with my tendency towards destroyers and more maneuverable smaller cruisers, but this could be interestingly maneuverable. It just kind of depends. I guess let's take a look for speed. Maximum speed, 34 knots, turning radius 700, which could be worse, could be better. Rudder shift time 9.4, which should be able to upgrade that. Surface detect of 11.2 is low. That is juicy right there. 11.2, you can bring down about 20%. 10% with captain, 10% with module. I think you'll get a module and a tier 8. And so that would bring you down about 2.2 kilometers, a little bit more. And so if that's the case, you're down at around 9 or 9.1 maybe. That could be interesting. Kind of almost like a Hampshire, but this one has a repair party, which Hampshire does not. That is interesting. Ben Steelen says Sejong. Yeah, but Sejong's a light cruiser, right? With small guns. This has got 203s. Short burst. Ooh, it's got a smoke generator too. So that's kind of Sejong-like, isn't it, Ben Steelen? You were one line ahead of me. And a hydroacoustic search. I like British cruisers. I kind of like it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Nottingham, here we come. And now the one I'm sure some of you have been waiting for, but probably not all. Gato, the American Tier 10 premium submarine. People were just asking about this darn thing recently, actually. Like, where's my Gato? And here it is. Check this amazing paint job they put on here. They pulled out all the stops for the submarine paint job, of course. I like the blue, the black to dark blue to medium blue to light gray stripes across the back there. That's a subtle feature, but I dig it. It's got a deck gun, it looks like, and of course the sweet teeth here painted up on the side of it. As conceived by the command of the U.S. Navy, these fleet submarines were supposed to be complementing slow-moving standard battleships. They have high surface speed, heavy armament, and a long range to conduct reconnaissance and finish off the enemy after gunnery duels between battleships. 10 torpedo tubes with a long reload time, 6 of which are in the bow, 4 in the stern. Okay, that's much more manageable. Homing torpedoes have high speed but low damage and very short range. Regular torpedoes have a slower speed but higher damage and range. If we take a look at the ship's stats for Gato, she's got 20,000 hit points. Torpedo tubes Let's see, maximum damage is 10,000 with a range of 6K. This must be the homing torpedoes. 89 knots. Oh my goodness. This is just designed to shotgun people, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Alternative torpedoes do 18,000 damage with a 16.5 kilometer range. Sounds kind of like a gearing torpedo. 66 knots, very gearing-esque. Reload time, 67 seconds. With all of that said, thank you so much for watching Clyde Plays News. If this is your first time here with us on Twitch, thanks a ton for watching the news. If you've been here before, appreciate you coming back. If you're watching back on YouTube, you should know that we do this 3 times a week live over at twitch.tv/ClydePlaysLive. We would love to have you come join us there. And of course, if you're watching on Twitch, we're going to go back and play a few more games of World Warships. We'll give away a few prizes. And of course, you should come and check us out on YouTube if you like produced content. Obviously, there is... I don't know, there's over 100 videos, I think, on my YouTube channel now, which is a weird thing for me to be able to say. It's insane. So there's tons of content over there that's of a little bit more produced nature. Maurizio, thanks for the follow, and to Lalen for the win. Thanks for the follow as well. With all that said, we're going to head back to World Warships. Thanks for watching. Take care of each other. Be nice. Be cool. And we'll see you in the next battle. Take care, captains. Bye.
This has been the news on Clyde Plays Live.